Hi, I'm David Broderick, and I selected 7 films that were filmed in the city of Glasgow. I've chosen these films because they can all be seen as transnational films. This is because Glasgow can be seen as any city across the world. The city can easily mirror the poor struggling communities of any city. Since the city is known for its rough neighborhoods and is filled with crime, alcohol, and drugs, it helps create the elements that can come across as a transnational film. There's no sense that the city wants to be known, but for how the city can impact the outcome of someone's life. For the characters in these films, there's always a source of wanting to escape the city in some sort of manner, and these characters all find a way to escape. The first film I'm going to talk about is a film called Neds. It is a 2010 film directed by Peter Mullan. This film follows John McGill from his early childhood up to his teenage years. All of these films start with a moment already in progress. In this film, John is graduating. John was a smart child and top of his class and went to church, but an early encounter sent his life into a dark path. He is threatened by a member of a gang, so he tells his brother, who is the leader of the Cardi gang, and he locates that gang member down. This scene shows John above everyone else and looking out the window. This gives John an authority aspect and makes him feel as if he is in power, and the decision of this man's life is in his hand. The dark blue tint creates a more dramatic feel, as well as the idea of moonlight. This is used in a number of scenes. Blue is used during the violent scenes as of the washroom, outside, and around his alcoholic father, but the father gets a spotlight on him, which creates a dark shadow behind him. Yellow and light is used during the casual day. Christ becomes a part of the violence and becomes stabbed because of it. The camera is very mobile, which creates a sense of action and struggle. From the encounters the city brings on John's life, he becomes corrupted by the violence, and what looks to be like a suicidal attempt, takes his mother's kitchen knives and tries to take on the rivalry gang single-handedly. After his fellow members of the gang save him, he goes back to school, which is his escape from the city. He then finds himself in a field of lions as the camera stays still while he walks into the distance. The city managed to corrupt John, but in the end he managed to escape it. The next film I'm going to talk about is Ratcatcher. It is a 1999 film directed by Lynn Ramsay. This film follows James, a 12-year-old boy, and his guilt of killing his friend. This film starts off with James' friend Ryan twirling around in a curtain, but the music and slow motion effect makes it feel dark and deathlike. James kills Ryan during some horseplay, and we are shown the ripples in the water, James' stare, James' mother looking out a window, Ryan's arm, Ryan's face, and a group of boys over the dead body. These reinforce the idea that James' murder has not gone unnoticed. James is stuck in a house that has no running hot water, no bathing facilities, and no toilet. The city is covered in garbage and crawling with rats, and we get a camera overview of the city. While James and his family await for rehousing, James encounters multiple escapes from the city. This film captures a number of scenes through doorways and windows, which makes the viewer feel as if they are watching from the next room. It is a very open space. James creates his first escape by taking a bus to the outskirts of the city, where he finds his dream home. He then jumps to the window and plays in the field of wheat. This scene is much more bright and vivid compared to the scenes outside of this area. James also escapes the city through his friend Margaret, who he becomes in love with. They have a strange relationship between them, as she also allows herself to be used by the local gang. The first real element of escaping the city is through a mouse, which is sent off on a balloon, and we see the idea of the mouse making it to the moon. James' father is stabbed, and the camera captured this by displaying the blade, the cap being dropped, and the red syrup dropping onto the ice cream as if it was blood. James tries to return to his dream house, to only find that the windows and doors have been installed, and now he is closed off from his escape. James begins to come to the truth, which he then believes that there is no hope for him. We get a distant view of James jumping into the river. We are momentarily shown the ripples of the water and then an underwater view shot of James drowning. It then changes to a scene of his family walking in the wheat field, with him smiling at the end. For me, this is James' heaven, and he is finally happy. This is James' escape from the city. The next film is Shallow Grave. It is a 1994 film directed by Danny Boyle. This film captures three roommates, David, Juliet, and Alex, and how their friendship can change by an event in life. The film begins with a camera revolving around David's face, which is a foreshadow into the film. This film mainly takes place inside the apartment, which consists of a red door as the entrance. Yellow and green paint are in the rooms that are part of the casual interaction scenes, while blue paint becomes a part of the violent scenes. This scene, we are able to see the man through a doorway answering the phone, while Juliet is reflected through the mirror in the other room. The red becomes more symbolic of violence through other scenes, like the use of red in the drowning of the man and outside in the forest during the brutal decapitation of a body. The spotlight also during these scenes can come across as the headlights of their vehicle, but it also creates an outline and a strong contrast so we can see the figures. This scene shows a man answering a question with a lie, while the truth is being portrayed on the screen. The viewer gets insight on this man's background story, but the characters are left out of this information. We get two views of the staircase, from above and below, giving us depth and distance that these characters need to walk and the amount of people they need to sneak by. The money is set below the characters on the screen, so the money can come across as a lot, and how it will impact their lives. David becomes paranoid and begins to live in the attic, where he drills holes into the ceiling so he can monitor the apartment. This creates an interesting visual of light coming through into the attic. The ending of the film, we see the characters wanting the money for themselves. Juliet kills David and pins Alex to the floor with a knife. Juliet then leaves for the airport with the suitcase and her already purchased ticket, but finds out the money is not in the suitcase. She is forced to leave anyways since she will be convicted for murder. We are then shown Alex again, who is not dead, and how the money is underneath the boards beneath him. David escapes the city through death. Juliet escapes the city for South America, while Alex is able to escape the blame for the murders and gets all the money. Here we have Small Faces, a 1996 film directed by Gillis McKinnon. This film captures two gangs and how Lex becomes wrapped up in it. The film starts off with Lex drawing and a voiceover about what his brother told him. Lex takes a shot of alcohol and seems to get drunk from it, and becomes overly aggressive. The next morning, from his hangover, he sits outside in the sun where he doesn't feel so good. Lex is given a gun, but cannot see who gives it to him. He begins to play with it, where he shoots the head gang member of the Tongs in the eye during a soccer game. This creates trouble for Lex and his brother Alan. Art is treasured and appreciated, and what seems to be an escape from violence is not. Charlie, the head member of the gang, sees value in art. When Lex looks for protection, he gets himself and Alan involved with the gang. This scene captures the rooftop of a museum as the figures carry flashlights. Lex is lowered down, and once everyone gets inside, Alan adds a portrait of Charlie to the mural. After Lex feeling betrayed, he tries to join the Tongs in order to get Charlie killed. But this only gets his brother Bobby killed. We are seeing an aerial view of Bobby being dragged across the ice with a blood streak being followed behind him. Lex's friend that he makes in Tongs territory kills Melky by turning on the gas, causing Melky's flame to blow the place up. Although Lex is not aware of this, we are quickly shown a screen that says "The End," and the kids start singing and moving. Lex finally seems to be enjoying himself as if he knows he is safe now. The film ends as it started, with a voiceover about his family. He then uses art to become the escape to keep him away from the city. These are 4 of my 7 films in my filmography. The other 3 are The Angel Share, Trainspotting, and Unleashed. All of these films have the central characters wanting to leave their city. The city they live in does not provide them with the security or self-fulfillment that they desire, and look for better opportunity elsewhere. These films are localized, not globalized, but the city that can be seen as any poor community around the world. They also maintain the same specific features and theme of wanting to escape. These films can reach out to many different audiences, making these films transnational films.